grande, white mocha, frappuccino.
Over the last 5 years, I've spent probably hundreds of hours in a Starbucks. Been to 400 Starbucks in over 10 countries, which prompts people to ask me why I would do such a thing.
The simple answer is Bryant Simon loves coffee. But there is more to this Java journey for the professor of history and director of American Studies at Temple University.
I was really intrigued by the scene at this store, and so I began to sort of think about, kind of informally, writing a book about Starbucks. But really what I was writing a book about was community, where we got together in kind of suburban, mauled-up America. And then what it meant if community was sponsored by a corporation.
Starbucks opened in 1971, back when coffee simply meant adding hot water to instant grounds. The store saw a void for good coffee and filled it, and in the almost 4 decades since has added to our everyday vernacular, with customers requesting venti espressos and caramel macchiatos, well versed in the Starbucks lingo. But as Simon sat in one Starbucks after another, sharing drinks with everyone from teens to interior designers, taking in the decor and music, he realized Starbucks was selling more than coffee, and customers were drinking it up.
If the fundamental premise of the book was right, that Starbucks sold us back our desires, that many of the desires that we have are the basis for a more just, a more sane, and a fairer kind of order. We're longing for a kind of authenticity. We want things to seem real and be real and have relationships to real products and more natural products. You know, we want community. Now, we might not get it at Starbucks, but that desire, I think, is there, and it fuels some of our buying. It's a good example of how much energy, emotion, and time we invest in what we buy, and how increasingly what we buy we use to represent who we want to be.
While researching for his book, Everything But the Coffee, Learning About America from Starbucks, Simon discovered Starbucks customers wanted to be seen as sophisticated, smart, and economically successful. They bought the $4 coffees and bought into the brand, but purchasing power has its perils.
When we choose to buy coffee at a corporation that's branded and has 16,000 stores around the world, that means we've chosen not to buy it at a local place. When we buy ideas about globalization from Starbucks, we make it harder for other ideas about globalization to rise to the surface. And I want people, as they read the book, to engage with the points I'm making, but to think more broadly about the choices they make when they buy things. And to think of, and hopefully the book provides this kind of broad template about how extensive the ramifications of our choices are, that they can think through their other choices in those ways.
And while Starbucks thrived before the recession, Simon points out that lower sales these days are not only a reflection of the economic downturn, but a cultural shift as well, as customers seek out their fair trade coffee and sense of community elsewhere, understanding money will only get them the coffee.
We can't achieve the things that are most important to us through buying. They will take harder work, more sustained kind of thought and analysis, and more sustained organizing. And that's a decision we have to make.
Thank you very much.